including operations of information environment, OIE, to counter adversary malign influence, DOD activities, including OIE, conducted outside areas of armed conflict. They are coordinated and deconflicted with other departments and agencies as appropriate. This process is deliberate, methodical, comprehensive, and several state and non-state actors use social media platforms and other media to spread disinformation and conduct malign influence campaigns against the U.S. The Department of Defense uses a variety of platforms, including social media, to counter malign influence attacks aimed at the U.S. allies and partners. As it relates to COVID-19 disinformation, China initiated a disinformation campaign to falsely blame the U.S. for the spread of COVID-19. And that's the U.S. Department of Defense statement following the article that appeared in Reuters. There is also a statement that was made public, and we are in receipt of as well, from the Chinese embassy in the Philippines regarding the U.S. military's secret psychological warfare of discrediting Chinese vaccines. And I would just like to quickly summarize the rather lengthy statement from China's embassy here in Manila. As a responsible major country, China provided global public goods such as vaccines to other countries during the COVID-19 pandemic. We were the first to provide COVID response supplies and vaccines to the Philippines. China and the Philippines have been mutually supportive and cooperative against the onslaught of the disease, making important contributions to the world's final victory over the pandemic. However, such cooperation was not as smooth as it was supposed to be. Obstruction and sabotage from a third country and certain forces happened all along. And this goes on to say that a plot doomed to failure as it went against the interests of both the Chinese and the Filipino people. More and more behind-the-scenes stories were being told by insiders following the end of the pandemic. And the above report, meaning the Reuters report, is one of the latest that connects the dots and tells a true story to the world. People around the world are indignant about the U.S. military's actions, laying bare the hypocrisy, malign intent, and double standards of the U.S. While talking about respecting human rights, the U.S. does the opposite regarding the fundamental human rights of life and death of Filipino people, thus exploiting the vulnerability of the Filipino people for its ulterior geopolitical motives. Yes, so they go on to warn that both the people of China as well as the Philippines should remain highly vigilant and clear-eyed, resist being taken in by disinformation and inflammatory rhetoric, define their own fate, and protect China-Philippine relations, as well as peace and stability in the South Seas. So we shall begin with the Twitter post. Please put them on, to which we refer. Yes, Secretary, please, if we may have the Twitter post to which we are referring, and so that everyone can have a look at them. Okay, I think most people can see it's a little bit far. Pwedeng lakihan. Yes, Dr. Daniel Lucy. Yes, Dr. Lucy, I see you. Yes, there.
Hello, Senator.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Lucy. We start off with you, since you were one of the persons interviewed by the Reuters team, and you were a former military physician who assisted in the response to the 2001 anthrax attacks, as well as being an infectious disease specialist at Dartmouth's Geisel School of Medicine. So thank you very much for joining us. How were you interviewed by Reuters? Did they reach out to you personally, or was it through email or by phone?
They reached out to me. Honestly, I don't remember if there was a phone call or not, but Yes, they reached out to me and asked me what I thought. I would just like to add, Senator, that I served in the U.S. Air Force only from 1988 to 1992 for 4 years. So the reference to my work during 2001 anthrax attacks in the U.S., I was a civilian physician, infectious disease physician at that time. I just wanted to clarify that I served 4 years on active duty from 1988 to 1992.
Yes, thank you for the clarification, Doctor. What were the questions asked by the Reuters team? Were you made aware that the interview was for an expose regarding clandestine information operations?
Well, I think that the Reuters interviewer was quite straightforward and factual, so I don't feel that there was any deception. He explained to me what the story was going to say and asked me if I had any reaction. And so, you know, I gave the statement that you find in the Reuters story from June 14th, because as an infectious disease physician, someone who's been involved with many epidemics starting in 1982 with the AIDS epidemic in the US, but going to China for SARS in 2003, for example, and actually, I went to China in February of 2020, but I was trying to get to Wuhan to help work in the hospitals in Wuhan, but I was not able to get there. I only got as far as Shanghai because Wuhan was already shut down, I think, as everyone knows, on January 23rd.
Thank you. Yes, so you said that they were fairly straightforward, and you were thereafter quoted by Reuters as saying, the effort to stoke fear about Chinese inoculations risked undermining overall public trust in government health initiatives. Can you explain your statement briefly?
I think my statement was more to the effect of that I did not think that what was being reported, if accurate, that it was defensible. I really didn't think that it was something that you know the U.S. government should have been doing. The Chinese Sinovac vaccine, I think, as everyone knows, did have safety and efficacy data published in peer-reviewed journals, and it was one of multiple vaccines that was approved for use by the World Health Organization. So I really didn't think that it was ethically, it was defensible to, if accurate, to have a disinformation program about this vaccine, which was made available obviously to the Philippines and to other countries as well by China.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Indeed, Sinovac was the first vaccine made available during the pandemic here in the Philippines. Do these types of disinformation and misinformation campaigns cause what is called vaccine hesitancy for those who are affected thereby?
Well, I can't speak directly for anyone, obviously, in the Philippines or in Central Asia or anywhere else in the world. But I think this was really disinformation. And I'm saying this, as an infectious disease physician. I'm a U.S. citizen. I, grew up in a military family. I served in active duty. But I think that the way it sounds to me is this disinformation about the Chinese Sinovac vaccine, which again was approved by the World Health Organization for use in countries around the world. It was well, the disinformation was, it sounds to me, to have been intended to make people hesitant to take the vaccine.
Yes, that certainly had that effect here in the Philippines. And until today, we're struggling with vaccine hesitancy for many other vaccines. In your experience as an infectious disease specialist, how significant a problem is vaccine hesitancy?
Well, I think that it's